I always believe the greatest betrayals don't announce themselves with screaming or chaos. They arrive quietly, softly, almost politely, like a shadow slipping under the door in the middle of the night. That night, something felt off. The air inside our apartment was colder, heavier, like the walls were holding their breath. Daniel walked through the front door an hour later than usual. His hair was slightly messy, his shirt wrinkled, and there was a faint scent of perfume clinging to him, not mine. And definitely not something I'd ever worn. Traffic was hell, he said, forcing a tired smile. But I'd been with him long enough to know his real tired smile from his fake one. This one didn't reach his eyes. It didn't even pretend to. He kissed my forehead, quick, empty, and walked past me toward the shower, avoiding my eyes like they carried the answer he didn't want to face. I didn't say anything. Not yet. But deep inside my chest, something cracked. They say cheating doesn't begin with the act itself. It starts with small choices. A deleted text. A hidden smile. A harmless message left unanswered in the presence of your partner. And Daniel's small things started piling up fast. He kept turning his phone face down. He started locking it, a password he'd never used before. His notifications suddenly became silent. And there were moments when he'd be texting someone, smiling softly at the screen. A smile I hadn't seen directed at me for months. I asked him once, gently, "Who are you texting?" He shrugged. "Just work stuff." But work doesn't make a man blush. Work doesn't make a man hide his phone in his pocket when you walk into the room. Work doesn't suddenly require late meetings every other night. Something inside me whispered the truth. It wasn't paranoia. It wasn't insecurity. It was intuition, my heart telling me what my brain wasn't ready to accept. But I needed proof. I needed the truth to slap me instead of whispering. So I waited. And I watched. If someone had told me the woman involved was someone I trusted, I would have laughed. Not her. Not Emily. Emily was my closest friend. The kind of friend who stayed up with me during breakups. The friend who cried when I got engaged. The friend who held my hand the first time I had a panic attack. The friend who said Daniel was like a brother. Looking back, there were signs. Comments that I brushed off. Moments I didn't want to overthink. She'd compliment him too much. Laugh too hard at his jokes. Touch his arm when she talked. But I ignored it. Because when you love someone, you build excuses for the people who hurt you. You tell yourself. She would never. He would never. Not them. Anyone but them. But betrayal always comes from the people with the easiest access to your heart. Our relationship had become a quiet battlefield. Not loud. Not explosive. Just cold. Daniel stopped noticing me. Stopped asking about my day. Stopped touching me unless I tried first. We'd eat dinner in silence, sitting feet apart but worlds away. He'd scroll on his phone while I stared at my food, wondering what part of our life he was running from. One night, I reached for his hand. He gently pulled away, not harsh, not rude. Just empty. "I'm tired," he said softly. But exhaustion doesn't make a husband flinch at his wife's touch. Something else does. Something guilt-shaped. And the loneliness. God, the loneliness was suffocating. Being ignored by the person who once made you feel like home, there's no pain like it. I would have accepted anything. An argument. A confession. Even a lie I could pretend to believe. But silence. Silence was the cruelest answer. The truth finally showed itself through something painfully small. A notification that lit up his phone while he was in the shower. My heart stopped. Because the name glowing on the screen. Emily. She had messaged him at midnight. The preview showed only 3 words. Same time tomorrow. I stared at those words until they blurred. My hands were shaking. My breath caught in my throat. I felt the floor tilt. The world spin. The truth slammed into me like a punch I didn't see coming. It wasn't a guess anymore. Wasn't a fear. Wasn't suspicion. It was real. It was right in front of me. And it came from the two people I trusted most. I put his phone back exactly where it was. I walked to the kitchen. I held onto the counter until the dizziness faded. Then I whispered to myself, "Tomorrow, I'll know everything." Because now, I wasn't just hurt. I was determined. Sleep didn't come that night. How could it? My mind kept replaying that single notification like a broken record. Same time tomorrow. Emily. I lay beside Daniel, staring at the ceiling while he slept peacefully next to me, peacefully, as if his lies weren't choking me. As if he hadn't burned the life we built together with the same hands that once held me. Around 4 a.m., something inside me shifted. Something cold. Something brave. Something final. If he thought he could keep lying. If he thought I would just sit there and accept the crumbs of his love. He was wrong. I wasn't going to cry in silence anymore. I wasn't going to pretend I didn't see the signs. I was going to follow him. Not because I wanted to catch him. But because I deserved the truth. Not the version he fed me. Not the lies he crafted. The real truth, ugly, raw, brutal. So the next morning, I told him, I might visit my sister today. Won't be home. He nodded. Didn't even look up from his phone. That tiny gesture, that indifference, was all the permission I needed. Daniel left the apartment around 7 p.m. He didn't know I was standing at the end of the hallway as the elevator doors closed. He didn't see me slip downstairs and follow him into the night. I kept my distance. Far enough not to be noticed. Close enough to see everything I needed. He wasn't going to a late meeting. He walked past the office building without even glancing at it. He kept going. And going. Straight toward a small residential street across town. A street I knew all too well. Because Emily lived there. My footsteps grew heavier. My chest tighter. It felt like walking toward my own execution. He paused in front of her door. He looked around once, casual, careless, completely unaware of the storm forming behind him. Then he rang the bell. The door opened almost instantly. And Emily stepped out. Her hair slightly messy. A smile too comfortable. A glow too familiar. She didn't hug him. She didn't kiss him. She pulled him inside like someone who had been waiting for him all day. And the door shut behind them. Just like that. No hesitation. No guilt. No shame. People think heartbreak feels like crying on the floor or screaming into a pillow. But that's not the worst part. The real pain is the numbness. Standing in the dark outside Emily's apartment, watching the man I loved disappear into another woman's home, a woman who pretended to love me, I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stood there. Like my soul had left my body. My hands were shaking so violently I had to press them against my coat to steady them. My heartbeat wasn't fast, it was slow. Heavy. Like each beat hurt. I kept telling myself, walk away, just walk away. But my feet were rooted to the ground. For 15 minutes, I stared at that closed door, feeling every memory of our relationship unravel thread by thread. Birthdays. Anniversaries. Inside jokes. Quiet nights. Soft kisses. All of it suddenly looked fake. Every smile he had given me these past months. Every, I love you, he whispered. It all felt rehearsed. Mechanical. Hollow. The betrayal wasn't just physical. It was emotional. Spiritual. A violation of everything I had given him. I wish I could say I left after that. That I walked away and protected my heart. But betrayal does something strange to people. It makes you desperate for the full truth, even if the truth shatters you. So I stayed. Frozen outside like a ghost. I watched shadows behind the curtains. I saw silhouettes move. Two figures too close. Too familiar. Too comfortable. At one point, I even heard laughter through the slightly open window. Her laughter. The same laugh that once comforted me during my worst days. It felt like being stabbed repeatedly with memories instead of knives. The more I watched, the clearer everything became. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't a one-time lapse in judgment. They were comfortable together. Practiced. Used to each other's presence. They had done this before. Many times. And maybe the worst part. They didn't seem guilty. Not even a little. Around 9 p.m., the door opened. Daniel stepped out first. Fixing his shirt. Running a hand through his hair. Emily followed him into the hallway. Barefoot. Wearing one of his hoodies, a hoodie I had bought him. She leaned against the doorframe, smiling like a woman in love.
If this story hits you, you can support the channel with a quick hype.
Not a woman who had just shattered her best friend's heart. Daniel kissed her on the forehead. That single gesture. That quiet, intimate, familiar gesture. Was what finally broke me. He used to kiss me like that. Gently. Slowly. With a kind of love that felt safe. Seeing him give that tenderness, my tenderness, to her. My chest collapsed. My throat closed. Tears finally spilled, hot and uncontrollable, but completely silent. I turned around. Walked away. Didn't look back. Because if I had, I would have screamed. And I didn't want them to hear my pain. Not yet. Not until I decided what came next. The cold night air should have woken me up. Should have snapped me out of the shock. But as I walked away from Emily's building, everything felt blurred. Washed out. Unreal. Streetlights flickered above me. Cars passed. People talked. Doors opened and closed. The world was moving. But I wasn't part of it. It felt like walking through a dream where every sound is muted and every color is dull. My footsteps didn't sound like my own. My breath didn't feel like it belonged to me. My mind kept replaying the same image. Daniel kissing her forehead. Her wearing his hoodie. Them looking like a couple that had nothing to hide. It was like watching a version of my life, except I wasn't in it anymore. By the time I reached home, my hands were numb. My face was streaked with dried tears. My body felt heavy, as if grief had settled into my bones. The apartment looked different. His shoes by the door. His jacket on the chair. His cologne lingering in the air. All of it felt intrusive. Like a stranger lived in my home. And maybe that's exactly what he had become. I didn't sleep. Couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, my brain replayed the scene outside her apartment in painful clarity. Her bare feet. His soft smile. Their familiarity. My body reacted before my mind did. Shaking hands, tight chest, shallow breathing. Betrayal isn't just emotional. It's physical. Your body mourns before your heart can process it. I sat on the kitchen floor with a blanket wrapped around me, staring at the wall, asking myself questions I didn't want answers to. How long had it been going on? Did he ever stop loving me? Did she ever care about me at all? Was I the only one who didn't see it? I wasn't angry yet. Anger needs strength. And I had none left. What I felt wasn't rage. It was devastation, the kind that makes you question your worth, your sanity, your whole identity. When the sun rose, its light didn't bring warmth. Just more clarity. And clarity hurt. Daniel came home the next morning with a calmness that made my skin crawl. He tossed his keys on the counter. Opened the fridge. Poured himself a glass of orange juice. Not a hint of guilt. Not a flicker of hesitation. He didn't even look at me. "How was your sister?" he asked casually. My stomach twisted. His voice sounded normal. Too normal. I studied his face, searching for anything, a crack, a shadow, a tremble, something that showed he knew what he'd done. But he was comfortable. At ease. The familiarity of the lie was chilling. It wasn't his first time. It wasn't a mistake. This was a routine. I didn't end up going, I said quietly. He froze. Just for a second. Barely noticeable, but enough. Then he shrugged. Oh, everything okay? Everything okay? A part of me wanted to scream. I saw you with her. I saw everything. I know. But the words didn't come. Instead, I watched him drink his juice like a man who had two separate lives. And was perfectly fine with that. He started talking about work. Deadlines. Meetings. Stress. The same script he always used. But I wasn't listening. I was studying him. His mannerisms. His tone. His comfort. He wasn't nervous. He wasn't defensive. He was prepared. That terrified me. Because it meant he had practiced this lie so many times, he could deliver it flawlessly. At one point, he even reached out to touch my shoulder, something he hadn't done in weeks. You look tired, he said softly. Tired? No. I wasn't tired. I was broken in ways sleep could never fix. But I nodded. Because what else was there to say? He had rewritten reality so many times that he probably believed his own version by now. A version where I was clueless. Where he was the stressed, hard-working partner. Where Emily was just a friend. Liars don't just manipulate the truth. They manipulate the world around you until you question your own perception. And that's exactly what he was trying to do. Something shifted inside me while he talked, something small but powerful. For the first time in months, I stopped feeling powerless. Because now I had the truth. Not guesses. Not suspicions. Evidence. Reality. Certainty. He thought he was in control. He thought I was blind. He thought he could keep playing both sides. But I had seen everything. And now I had a choice. Not between staying or leaving, that decision would come later. No. The choice I needed to make was how to handle the truth. Should I confront him now? Should I gather more proof? Should I expose them together? Should I make him confess without revealing what I knew? For the first time since the betrayal began, I felt something other than pain. I felt strategy. I felt strength. I felt the first spark of the version of myself that would not just survive this, but rise from it. Stronger. Sharper. Wiser. And it started with one simple thought. He thinks he knows me. But he has no idea what I'm capable of. Silence is a powerful weapon. The kind that makes guilty people nervous. And liars uncomfortable. So I didn't confront him. I didn't accuse him. I didn't even look at him differently. Instead, I let him believe everything was normal. I cooked dinner. I asked about his day. I smiled just enough to keep him comfortable. Because if I had confronted him too soon, he'd deny it. He'd twist the truth. He'd gaslight me until doubt swallowed my certainty. But if I stayed quiet, if I watched, if I collected every detail, then he wouldn't have anywhere to run. He thought my silence meant acceptance. But my silence was strategy. The first step toward taking back my power. The more I watched him, the more patterns I started to see. He checked his phone obsessively. Not in a nervous way. In a habitual way. Like he was waiting for someone who made him feel alive. Someone who wasn't me. He shaved more often. Used cologne he hadn't touched in months. Wore clothes he knew she liked. I realized that only later. When he looked at me, his eyes were distant. But when he thought I wasn't watching, his expression softened in a way I hadn't seen. For months. He wasn't in love with me anymore. He was in love with the thrill. The secrecy. The ego boost of being wanted by two women at once. But the real Daniel, the man he pretended to be, was slipping through the cracks. He thought he was unpredictable. But liars repeat themselves. Every Single time. 2 days later, I followed him again. But this time, I stayed further behind. Moved more carefully. Learned from the night before. He walked with purpose. Hands in his pockets. Smiling at his phone like a teenager with a crush. When he reached Emily's building, he didn't look around. Didn't hesitate. Didn't hide. Because cheaters become comfortable when they think their lies are safe. The moment he stepped inside her apartment building, I walked up to the security door. And something unbelievable happened. A neighbor came out, holding the door open just long enough for me to slip inside. I didn't make a sound. Didn't breathe too loudly. On the second floor, I heard it. Laughter. Her laughter. His voice. The soft thump of footsteps. Furniture moving. And then, a sound I will never forget. Her whisper. I missed you. Followed by his reply. I missed you more. My hand covered my mouth. My knees threatened to give out. But I stayed silent. Because now I had the truth. Not suspicion. Not shadows. Not guesses. Words. Actions. Reality. And that reality was unforgivable. That night, when he walked through the door of our apartment, he looked relaxed. Happy. Light. Cheaters always look the happiest when they finally get what they want, without losing what they already have. He kissed my cheek, the first voluntary kiss in weeks. How was your day? He asked. I looked him dead in the eyes and said, calmly, firmly, we need to talk. His smile faded. What about? I didn't yell. Didn't cry. Didn't accuse. I simply said her name. Emily. He froze. Not a small hesitation. A full body freeze. His eyes widened for a split second, before he forced himself back into character. What about her? He asked. Flat. Cold. Trying to stay in control. I tilted my head. Studied his face. Watched every micro-expression. Then I delivered the one sentence that stripped him of all his rehearsed lies. I followed you. The color drained from his face. Completely. He didn't speak. Didn't blink. And in that silence, I realized something powerful. He wasn't sorry. He was scared. Not for me. Not for what he did. But because he was about to lose the person who made his double life possible. He tried to deny it. Then he tried to twist it. Then he tried to blame me. Classic cheater pattern. But the moment I said, I heard you. Both of you. His lies collapsed. He sat down on the edge of the couch. Hands shaking. Eyes darting around like there was an escape route on the walls. I didn't mean for it to happen, he whispered. Liars always say that. But I felt nothing. Not anger. Not pain. Not even grief. Just freedom. Because the moment a truth destroys you, you are rebuilt from the ashes. I stood up. Grabbed my coat. Looked at him one last time. You didn't just lose me tonight, I said softly. You lost the version of me that ever believed you deserved me. He didn't chase me. Didn't apologize. Didn't fight for us. He just sat there, watching the consequences of his own actions swallow him whole. I walked out of the apartment and closed the door on the man he used to be and the woman I used to be. For the first time in months, I felt powerful, clear, alive. Because endings hurt, but they heal too. And this was the beginning of a future where his betrayal no longer defined me.
If you've ever felt this kind of pain, don't walk through it alone. Hit subscribe and stay with us. More real stories are coming.